Thanks, mate. Nice to be back here again. Hi, everyone. So looking forward to seeing some of the pictures later. Just to start with a little story. Anyone who knows MongoDB here, they had a phenomenal track record. They were at 30 or 40 million when Dave Icheria, the CEO, took over. And he took them from 30 million ARR to 800 in about 4.5 years. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. Getting to 1 million ARR is hard. This guy went from 30 to 800 in 4.5 years. And in all the interviews that they have with him, he says there's two things you need. You need world-class product, and you need world-class go-to-market sales strategy. So you're building stuff, you're going to pitch it later, and it's very important that you do it in the right way, because even if you have a great product, if you don't pitch it properly and it doesn't land well, and you don't deliver it with empathy for your audience, they're not going to care about it, and your great product will fizzle or die. The world is littered with great technology that never made it anywhere because it just wasn't sold properly. And the world is full of examples of extremely average technology that's generating billions and billions of revenue every year because they sell it so well. Okay? So my background, Fintech, scale-up, startups, 0 to 10 million. I've worked in banking, I've worked in inter-dealer brokers, and I now have a business where we coach CEOs and sales leaders and sales teams on how to sell to banks and financial institutions, because it's a really, really difficult thing to do. It's not about pitching up and having a bunch of meetings and then getting stuff done. So when you're pitching this afternoon, it's extremely important that you start with a hook, something exciting, something interesting that's going to engage your audience immediately. You don't want them to be bored, and you don't want to start diving straight into, I built this thing, it's blue, it's really fast, it does all these whiz-bang things. No one wants to hear that, right? You've got to start with the hook, something really exciting. Describe the way the world is today. For example, every year, 70,000 seals die on this particular beach. That's tragic. We've got to do something about it. Now everyone's listening. Describe the problem. This is what causes it. And describe what your solution is going to do to fix that. And make it compelling and engaging, and make it simple and straightforward. Now, where a lot of people fail is they dive into technical details. Business people don't buy technology, they buy solutions, business outcomes. They want to buy something that's going to change their world, that's going to make them more successful, it's going to make them more money. So the core principle of enterprise sales is what we call value-based selling, where whatever you're selling or pitching to your audience is around what the impact is going to be for them on their business. They don't care how clever your technology is, what it does, how fast it is, how it hooks up to the cloud, or how it uses AI and all that kind of stuff. That's interesting, but the most important thing is if you're pitching to a business person, what is that technology going to do for my business? Is it going to make me more money? Is it going to save me money? Is it going to reduce my risk so that my business doesn't have operational risk, legal risk, compliance risk, all that kind of stuff? So set the scene. Be very simple, clear and straightforward. Pick someone in your team that's going to pitch very well and very high level, and don't dive into tons and tons of detail. If you start diving into tons and tons of detail that you know very well and your audience doesn't know, people get bored, they switch off, they disengage, you've lost it. So be very clear, set the context, be very straightforward, explain to them what's going to happen. We've got these 70,000 seals that are dying on the beach every year. These are the 3 things that cause it. Name the 3 things. Be very clear. These are the 2 things we're going to do to make that go away. And this is the other thing we're going to make sure that never happens again. And that's going to have an exponential impact on the seal population. Those 70,000 seals that don't die, after 5 years, there's going to be 500,000 extra seals on the planet, which is a really good thing, and everyone wants more seals. Right? Is that making sense? Okay, so set the context. Now, another really good thing to know about presenting, you don't need to have slides, but it is helpful if you do have slides, but make them not full of tons and tons of detail, just very high level. You need to know the detail. And the old mantra is, when you're presenting, you tell the audience what you're going to tell them, then you tell them what you tell them, and then at the end, you summarize again what's going on. So in the beginning, I had my hook. I told you about the seals that were going to die. In the middle, I told you about how we were going to sort that all out. And then at the end, I'm affirming that are you guys really happy about all the seals we're saving? Everyone's delighted. And then I summarize that and then I'm finished. Okay? Less is more. Complexity that your audience doesn't understand is an absolute deal killer. So your product is born in the hackathon, but it survives and thrives in the pitching room. If you can't pitch and sell and get people excited about the thing that you've got that's so special and amazing that it's going to change the world, and they absolutely have to have it. If they can't get that, if you can't get that across, you're not going to get funded, you're not going to do the deals, your product's not going to take off, you won't be able to hire anyone, you've got to get them excited about it, you won't be able to get funding, you've got to get the funders excited about it, you won't be able to get your customers excited about it. It's extremely important. The research I've done recently is that tech companies don't fail really because they struggle to raise, they fail because they can't sell. And that happens often in technical businesses because they get founded by clever technologists or product people who see the problem, that burning issue, and they fix it. And then they build something that is going to change the world, but then they can't take it to the next step. That next step is extremely important. How much time have I got left? A few minutes?
Yeah, you are.
Can we dive in? Couple quick questions. Does anyone want to ask a quick question about impactful pitching? Have you got an idea of who's going to pitch? Someone who speaks very clearly, someone who's very engaging, someone who reads the audience. If the audience is looking bored or switched off, you need to react. If the audience is engaged, you need to keep going. You need to read the audience and see where they are. Okay? Yes.
I was going to say, generally, is it better to have one person lead the pitch entirely, or do people pitch
That's a good question. Should we have one or two people pitching? It doesn't really matter as long as both of them are engaging and they're speaking about different stuff. Sometimes it's exciting for the audience to have two speakers because they bounce off each other. But as long as that works, and you don't have someone who's like amazing and someone else who's a little bit, a bit low key, then that doesn't work so well. But often you get product, technology, sales, three different people speaking. Any other questions? Are we going to save some seals this year? Yes? The back? Anyone? Okay. Yeah.
I didn't have a question. I was just going to sort of double click something you said
Yes.
about simple. Keep it simple.
Simple.
I have a tendency to try to tell the entire story, all of the details, and people get lost. Keep it simple and remember that people can ask questions.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them everything.
You don't have to. Thank you for joining in. And then lastly, it's all about stories, right? So tell a simple story. Human beings have been learning via stories for years and years and years. It's about tell that story, make it simple, make it emotionally impactful. Yes, question
I
over
wanted
there.
to ask, how important is body language and tonality delivering?
Yeah, it's very important. You don't want to, you can't have someone who's like slouching down and not standing up and who doesn't have energy. It's not going to work. You need to bring, like when you're going into that pitch, obviously you need to prepare extremely well to make sure you know everything. So even if you're only showing 4 or 5 slides or you're talking about something very simple, you need to know the detail behind everything very, very well. That gives you a ton of confidence. And then you have to go in there with like real positivity. And if someone asks you a question you don't know, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Just say we haven't looked into that yet, X, Y, Z. But don't try and blag it. That's like a real no-no. Are we good? Cool. Thank you very much. Good luck.